Good evening, everyone. I'm Neeraj Munkar, a final year PhD student at Nottingham Trent University and the organizer of this festival. I'm really excited to welcome you all for this first session of the Dalit and Adivasi Film Festival 2025. Following the amazing response that we received for last year's film festival, we have rebranded it as a Daff Dalit and Adivasi Film Festival by now more including that filmmaker from the indigenous community. This festival is not just about celebrating cinema, but also about fostering a critical engagement and dialogue among the people. So this year we have a specifically curated lineup of 12 films, including documentaries, short films, and docufictions, created by Dalit and Adivasi filmmakers. Each screening will be followed by an interactive discussion with the filmmakers. And for this festival, we dedicate DAP 2025 to PK Roji, the first actress of Malayalam cinema and a true pioneer of the industry. So today's screening lineup for today's session, we will be screening three short films and one documentary. So I will just introduce all the three short films first, and then after screening all the short film, I will introduce the documentary. So the first short film, and we are starting our festival with that film, is Swapnaayanam, a 1 minute short film in Malayalam directed by K.O. Akhil. This is a signature film in the 2024 International Film Festival of Kerala. It traces the history and origin of Malayalam cinema, beginning with the first ever screening of Vigathakumaran, The Lost Child, in a rural village and leading to the emergence of new theatre in Trivandrum. The film explores the courageous legacy of PK Rosy, the struggles of the working class, and ultimately the unveiling of Lanka Lakshmi, the iconic symbol of IFFK, representing unity, cultural diversity, and the enduring strength of cinema. And the second short film we have is Udmashan, a 5 minute short film in English directed by Prashant More. And this psychological thriller follows a young writer who, on a rainy night, chases a lead and stumbles into surreal nightmare inside a decaying chawl. As strange figures blur the line between reality and hallucination, she is plunged into darkness and madness. Will she uncover the truth, or will it destroy her? And the third short film we have is Ranjis, a 50-minute short film in Ahirani and Marathi language, directed by Prashant More, set in rural India. This short film follows a 10-year-old Manoj who endures caste oppression and family turmoil. His father, a scavenger, is filled with rage while society continues to treat him cruelly. But when Manoj finds an abandoned object, it becomes his escape until a final explosive act of defiance changes everything. So I think now we start all these three short films screening, and then we'll screen the last documentary. I hope you will enjoy. Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed the films. Uh, some scenes might have really stuck with you, sparked some sort of emotions, or made you think deeply. If you have any questions or comments for the filmmakers, please drop them in the comment section so we can bring them in into the discussion. Before we begin the discussion, I will just introduce all the filmmaker and my co-host. So we have for this today's discussion is a K.O. Akhil, who is an independent filmmaker, writer, and cinematographer based in Mumbai. He holds a master's degree in cinematography from FTII Pune 2018 batch and has also studied at K.R. Narayan National Institute of Visual Sciences and Arts, Kerala. Akhil started his artistic journey at NIFT, Delhi, graduating with honors in communication design. His graduation project, Incarnate Deity, a hybrid short film on the mystical Thayam ritual of Kerala, won the Best Communication Design Project Award 2016 at NIFT Delhi. And second filmmaker we have for today's discussion is Prashant More. He is a filmmaker from a Dalit background and a first generation learner. He studied direction at FTII Pune where he honed his craft. He worked has been screened. His work has been screened on several film festivals, including MIFF Bangalore International Film Festival and the Indian Film Festival of Stuttgart, Germany. His feature screenplay was selected for the Writers Inc. Feature Film Screenplay Writing Lab 2024-25. Based in Mumbai, Prashant's films explore identity, caste issues, and the human experiences, bringing diverse perspectives to both local and global audiences. And for the documentary filmmaker Pratik Parmar, unfortunately, he won't be able to make it for today's discussion, but I will just introduce him. He's an anti-caste filmmaker from Gujarat. He's working on similar issues related to caste, and he's trying to depict the struggle and the resilience of the marginalized community, particularly Dalit, through his cinematic skills. So yeah, that's all for our filmmakers, and I think now we'll just start the discussion. But yeah, I just missed to introduce Palani. So he's my co-host for today's session, and Palani Kumar, well known for his photographic skill. He's an artist from Jawaharlalpuram in Madurai. He pursued engineering to fulfill his mother's dream, but later found his true passion in photography. He took he actually took a loan for his first camera and worked as a cinematographer for Kakus, a documentary on manual scavengers in Tamil Nadu. His first photography exhibition, Nanam Oru Kulanthai, focused on the lives of manual scavengers, children. Since 2019, as a fellow of People's Archive of Rural India, Pari, he has been documenting the lives of working class women across India. He is also part of PEP Collective, a forum for socially responsible photographers. Palani has been recognized as one of the Anantha Vikathan's top 10 humans of 2019 and has received several awards, including the Dayanita Singh Pari Documentary Photography Award 2022. Recently, his work was exhibited at the Primary Gallery in Nottingham, where he discussed his personal journey and projects on manual scavenging, honor killings, and the systemic exploitation of working class and Dalit community. So, yeah, so let's start the discussion, and I think I will just start by asking very important and basic question to Akhil. So my questions about the Swapnaayanam is that try to trace and the depict the journey of Malayalam cinema by highlighting the legacy of P.K. Rosy. So what actually inspired you to tell this story? Because P.K. Rosy, as only few people that across India knows that she is the one of the first she is the first actress from Malayalam industry. But what actually the thought comes to your mind and to tell this story? And adding to these questions, also I would like to ask that what challenges did you face in portraying the history authentically in very short span as well? It's a 1 minute short film, and you really did a great job by showcasing the legacy of her. So yeah, Akhil.
Neeraj, thank you for for creating such platform. First of all, uh, it's a very quality gather. So coming to your answer and coming to your question, so the initial thought, the initial thought behind that signature film was uh, about the gathering, basically cultural gathering. So idea of cultural gathering. So that was the, initial seed idea when I was writing. When I was brainstorming for the signature film. So then, that time, a lot of questions raised uh, inside me. So basically, the the first gathering itself, it was limited to uh, very it was limited to certain privileged people only. So the first screening of Malayalam cinema, Vigathakumaran, which happened back in 1920s, 28, uh, in Capitol Theatre. So for me, tracing that history, I mean, which is almost like 95 years old, more than 95 years. So we are, so how to uh, depict that cultural trait basically, I mean, that transition, that was the biggest challenge for me. So, and the aspect of the representation in general in Malayalam cinema was one of the key aspects which I want to present. And so this signature film is the I mean it's it's a highlight of the festival basically. The kind of theme of the festival. So every year, I mean, this signature film is directed by uh, very veteran filmmakers or like very uh, big production houses. So somehow, like I pitched this idea and it got selected. So I was running against time basically. Like, we got only 20 days to complete this script. So within a very shoestring budget. So 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 the concept itself, it's like I mean, it's got heavy actually in how to portray the 95 years legacy. I mean, uh, and uh, and the transformation of city itself is Trivandrum. So so the first shot itself, when you see that paddy field, that place is known as Puchirakandam, which is opposite to the Pathanava Swami temple. So earlier it used to be paddy field, and so basically from that entire film, I mean within 50 seconds, so there are different layers. Like one is about like Vigathakumaran, and another layer is about the transformation of the city and how this cultural gathering uh, evolved basically. So as a in terms of like directorial vision, I was very clear about the portrayal of PK Rosy. I mean, it should not be a submissive figure, so it should be a inspiring figure for us. So there is a sense of responsibility as an image creator and how you portray a legendary figure like PK Rosy. And so we shot that. I mean, in our campus only, FTI. We shot in our FTI in our main theater where we used to watch like classic films and all. So we shot there. So it's like kind of like personal. I mean, we all have like certain personal connection to it. So that's how. I mean, it's a very small film, and so in terms of like technical aspect, also like we used 2D, 3D animation and live action VFX also. So that's the journey of Swapnaayanam.
Yeah, thank you, Akhil. And I will invite Palani. If you have any questions to Akhil, we can just.
I don't have any question, but I need to say something like,
Yeah, definitely.
so I went in last film festival. So I really enjoying that PK Rosy, the game for every film when they're going to show the first any film they're going to show the PK Rosy. It's like it's huge, First time I getting the visuals, I liked so much. So, but I need to how they are going to be agree with showed every every film they're going to show they're going to be put the first say they are so okay with showing the Pico Rosy any you're getting any problematic something like they're okay with short Kerala festivals.
So,
Yeah.
So basically, uh, Kerala Chalachitra Academy called for the entry. I mean, uh, last September.
Okay.
So, uh, So basically, they asked for the seed idea and storyboard and everything. So I have fished with my script and storyboard, I mean animatics and everything. So almost like I think like almost 20 entries we came. And one of the senior filmmakers, Mahesh Narayan, I mean, he was in the jury. He was the jury person and he selected our concept. So I mean, initially they were very skeptical in the sense like I mean, we are newcomers actually in terms of execution and all, and IFFK is a very big platform. So how we will execute this, and on paper, like I mean, PK Rosy watching film,
Yeah,
normal uh, with people. I mean, it's mentioned in the paper. I mean, how we are going to execute that. I mean, that was their concern, and towards that climax part, I mean, the Rosy is controlling the giant puppet with
yeah,
uh, working class. So, so on paper, it's people. I mean, they were quite skeptical, but we are quite confident about the execution part. So, I mean, there is no. I mean, Academy, Kerala Institute Academy was very supportive in that, I mean, in terms of concept and that. I mean, they wanted something related to, I mean, this kind of concept they want. I mean, it's somehow it happened to be the, I mean, right time actually when we face this concept. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, bro. It's a wonderful job, I think.
I think I will come back to you, Akhil. But first, I will just ask Prashant about his film Udmashan, as it's a psychological thriller, and sometime you feel like there is a reality and some sort of a surrealism that you have incorporated in your film. So I just want to ask that what the kind of techniques did you use to create this not so settling atmosphere? This is something very unusual to depict this very crucial issue in such a way, which is very fascinating. So, what actually influenced you to that for this sort of storytelling approach? So, yeah, Prashant.
First of all, thank you. Thank you, everyone, that you invited me here and showed my film. And so, this Udmashan, it comes from a dream. It was my dream, actually. I had a dream about a lady who is going somewhere. She goes into an like abandoned house, and there she finds a child. The child is dead, and then comes a very old, scrawny-looking man, and he picks up that dead child and he walks backwards while still looking at her. And in my dream, I couldn't see the face of that girl. So that was the point when the story came. And I have this habit of writing my dreams. I keep whenever I get a dream, I write it somewhere. And at that same time, I think my work actually because of the work that I was doing, I got this dream. So at that time, I was writing a feature film for a director. He's from our community, and he was writing. His story was based on three generation of manual scavengers who have worked in BMC. So I was working on that. So at that time, I was meeting people who are still working as manual scavengers. I was meeting people who are uh, working as contractual laborers, non-contractual laborers. I was meeting people who have left this work because they couldn't continue it. I have met a person who left this work. He wrote a book about it, and a lot of people. I met Sudhar Kolve also. Sudhar Kolve is a very senior photographer. He's also from the community, and he has documented the lives of manual scavengers who are working in BMC throughout 90s and early 2000s. He has done his work is phenomenal. Like the uh, Tata Institute also has published his book. And so his work and his photographs were the primary reference point for me to create the visuals. Again, I was trying to put my dream on the screen, and that was becoming a little difficult. And so the techniques that we use, like I shot it in FTI when I was in FTI. It was the first ever project that I did. It is the first ever film that I have directed in my life. So for this, it was a mix and match of practical effects. A lot of work was done by my production designers, Kunal Ved Patak and Meenakshi Pardeshi. So they work very hard for this. So in FTI hostel, there is a corridor, a long corridor. So we covered that whole corridor. We put some new doors there. We put all the properties. We did the aging. It took like a whole night, whole day, and that's how we created that corridor. Then there was an abandoned chawl, Prabhat chawl. It's an it was part of Prabhat Studios when V Shantaram was running that studio. So that chawl where people used to live who were working in the Prabhat studio, those people were used to live in the Prabhat chawl, but that chawl was abandoned. The shot that you see from the exterior when the car stops, that is Prabhat chawl. So we shot that exterior, then we went to interior in the hostel corridor, and for the shot where she falls, it was done with practical effects. Like we made the actor, we created an elevation of like 7-8 feet. We created a black room in the main theater, like the same which was Akhil talking about. He shot his film in the main theater. I also shot my that shot in main theater. So we created a black box there. We put a light, and we just we made her sit there on her back, and we just told her to mime that she is falling, and we captured that shot. And in post, we like reduced its size and we tracked from top to bottom. So that's how we created that effect. So this was the journey of this film. And like I was telling, so that time when I was meeting all those people in BMC, I was like reading a lot about the research done on manual scavengers. So one key thing that I realized is that the research that is done in academia and mostly done by Savarna researchers and the research done by Bahujan and Dalit researchers, there is a stark difference there. So the most of the time Savarna researchers, they focus and they look at these people as data. They all talk about numbers. This is what is happening in numbers. But when you look at the research done by Dalit and Bahujan researchers, you get to see a very human side of it. They talk about their lives. What do they do apart from this work? How this work is affecting them psychologically? What are their living conditions? These kind of things. So that's how it affected. And also at that time, I was meeting two researchers. So they are also first generation learners. Their 3 generations of their family have worked in the solid waste management department of BMC. So one of the guys, he told me a very key thing. He told me that we are already dead. We are not living. Our 3 generations are dead. Now I am alive. So anyone who is working as a manual scavenger and his family, they are already dead because we are not allowed to get out of that hole. We are not allowed to get out of that hole, mingle in the society, and progress just as rest of the people do. So that's when I picked it up, and with this, the difference that Savarna researchers have, that's why I kept the girl who goes in the search of that lead. She's a Savarna researcher, and that's how she ends up in that place which is dead in every aspect.
Yeah, that's very important point that you have raised here, that how that gaze and this the perspective that the Savarna researcher and as well the filmmaker that try to depict the stories of Dalit in a different manner, and there is a huge the difference between the Dalit writers, researcher, and filmmaker. And there are there's some props that you have used in your film Udmashan. There is a mirrors which are that blurry, and we often talk in the cinematic language that cinema is a that mirror of the society. But in your film, the mirror itself is that blurry. So yeah, it is so fascinating to that give those details. Yeah, Palni, do you have any questions about?
Yeah. So thank you so much for the film. I think I face a lot of hear about a lot of I getting a lot of experience with the particular issue. Last 7 years I'm doing this work. It's like ongoing project, like. So in the actors, how their people think about when they're going to be acting. You did some shot with the Soviet, So at that time, the actor, how she's did, how she's think about that. You need to share, you can share about how there's, the both films also someone acted the film. So
Yes.
how their people act, how their people, get inside, their story.
Yeah.
So let me share about that experience.
Okay, so actually, the actor that you see in the film, the girl who is playing that researcher, the girl who is writing the book, she was not
Yeah.
supposed to be in the film. I casted a different actor, and for the
Okay.
last moment, she was like she had an asthma attack, and I had these 2-3 shots where I was going to drown that person in that pool
Okay.
of water, and that too very dirty water. So I was like, okay, I can't do with that with you, because but I had a lot of like discussions with that actor, that other actor who was going to play. She's a very senior actor. She's from NSD. She has done a lot of Hindi films. But then I was like, no, I can't take that risk with your asthma, so we'll have to find someone else. And like just the day before the shoot, I got this actor, and just
Okay.
I went to a cafe. I gave her the script. I was like, please read it. If you feel like doing it, please tell me. Now you have to tell me, read it. And it was just a five page. So she read and she was like, okay, I'll do it. And the only thing that I told her, see, like you mentioned about the mirrors, the only thing that I told her that when you're going in this space, you're not able to like see yourself. You're going to forget what your past life was, and where you are here, you will always see this thing as a horror, and you will think that you have been captured here, because that's what happens with those again, I'm coming to several researchers. So their writing and the way they speak, they are like, oh, this is so horrific. But the moment they say this is so horrific, when that ends, that moment, they go back to their lives. They continue with that. And this just becomes a dinner table conversation for them. So I was like, you're not going to go back from here. Once you're here, you're stuck here. It might go on for years for you in the universe of this story. So you will be stuck here. So that you're in each and every way, you're trying to find a way out. So that were the kind of discussions we have had with her. And like you were saying, you were asking, how did I manage to shoot that, like with that dirty water and everything. So again, like I like to mention my the art directors, Kunal and Meenakshi. They helped a lot. So we had this very big like tank. We got it in the campus. We filled it with water. We filled it with color. We filled it with all kind of trash that we could manage to get from the campus. And we were shooting in the month of February. This cold. And we were shooting at night. So I was like, I'm going to dump you in this water. You have to go down. You have to keep up. So at the same time, and so she's inside that tank. We had a bonfire to a side. She used to go down. We used to pick her up. We used to go and make her sit in front of the bonfire. We were like, you are not. We'll make sure that you will not catch cold. And then when she's ready, we'll again get her back. We'll dump her down again. So that was the process. That's how we did it.
Thank you, bro. I need to ask one more question. So, in here in Tamil Nadu, so any research students going to be try to do research in manual scavenging. So they're also getting permissions, the higher officers. So that time they are told them to. So it's abolished, long year back. But why are doing this? So you are facing any this kind of questions, in you going to approach the story in your senior in your teachers maybe. They are allowed to do?
Yes, we are allowed to do.
Okay.
Akhil and me both are smiling. The thing is, like the same thing you said. It was the same question was like raised by my faculties when I pitched this idea. For every project we had to pitch 3 ideas. So when I pitched this idea, they were like, "No, this thing is done and dusted for. It is not existent now. People are not like this. My manuals, nobody does manual scavenging." So I'm like I was telling you, I did some research with BMC people also. So again, I would like to share an anecdote from there with BMC. So when I was talking to the people who are working with BMC, most of them were a little hesitant to talk to me. Even though I told them I'm not recording anything, I'm not even recording your voice, I'm not recording on a camera, I'm writing a story, I'm just here for the research, I just want to listen to you. But at the same time, they were like, no, it's if this thing goes to the higher ups in the BMC, we will have a problem, because they don't like that we talk about manual scavenging to someone like you. You might turn out to be a journalist, you might turn out to be someone else. I was like, no, you don't have to fear me, but still, but that again, that was a difficulty. Like, so I'm making a film, but the person who is doing the work, it is for that person also it's a difficulty to talk about his own work, his own predicament. So when I come to campus and when I pitch this story, they were like, it is abolished. Nobody does this kind of work. You're just making up stories. I was like, no, I'm not making up stories. I have research. I have research from done by institutes like this. I have research. I have official data from BMC also. I have official data from Supreme Court. So I went prepared there. I was like, see, I have these papers. You can see this. And a lot of my teachers and like the people in FTI, they were skeptical about this thing. They were like, we don't think you are going to pull it off, whether you will be able to pull it off, because we get only 2 days for shooting this and a limited resources, and we can't go out of campus. So there is a limitation of locations and the limitation of the spaces that we can create and shoot with. So after this film got like made and there was a screening for the faculties and students, that time also a lot of students and faculties, they were like, no, this thing doesn't happen, we haven't seen it. And they were asking me, can you please enlighten us about this, how did it happen, what happens to these people? So I was like, you are full grown adults, I'm not going to do this, I'm not here to teach you, this is not my responsibility. Go out of the street. Even if you just go out of the your classroom and see the people who are working as a cleaning staff in the FTI, you will, and you just talk to them, you ask them about their caste, you will know who, what, and which people work here, from which caste is the dominant in still cleaning your houses, your roads, your institutions, your house, everything. Again, that most of the people in the campus didn't like that film. Many people said that my gaze was not right. Many people said that I was making an angry statement. Many people said that I have a hate towards quote unquote Savarna people. So I was like, this is my film. This is what I made, and you have seen it on the screen. So apart beyond that, whatever you have seen in the screen, I'm not going to justify to you. And if you want to learn more about this thing, you are free to do so. You are adults. You know how to read and how to write. You can go out in the world and you can educate yourselves. So that was the kind of experience with this film was, and still till date, whoever sees this film, and if that person happens to be from not from a Dalit Bahujan community, they ask the same question to me. Then they ask me, "Oh, can you tell us how can we educate ourselves?" So I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Palni?
Yeah, thank you, bro. So, the people died in every day. So last 5 years, 339 people died in manhole. But the people and the government, they are also move on every day. So nobody is seen as, who are the people died in manhole, doesn't care about anything. So we have a lot of technology, but we doesn't any human being, like, they're not, they think about we are not human being. We also born to die because our caste, like, so the issue, I think, is a huge. So I seen your the kids asking some question about her father about her mother, why he is doing this stuff, So I went on course. I met a lot of manual scavenger. So they told me about don't show my face in front of any media. So my daughter, my sons also doesn't know about anything about my work. So if you are going to be show, so my children doesn't want to be any food with my hand, so don't do that. So that time I realized, so now a lot of time, a lot of photographers shoot the manhole with the man. They're showing a lot of the four faces also. So the children's life, there's too much suffer, a lot of things. And you can tell me about little bit more. So how how you made your script, the children perspective, they're asking some question about mother. So I think we need to discuss more like this. So because there are also children also having had a problem with the father work. After he died, they are also getting some problematic in mental also mean.
So again, so that story. So you are talking about Ranjis. So Ranjis, I wrote it in like, so that story was with me from 2016. I wrote it in like 2019-20 that time. It had multiple drafts. So the story came from an news article. So like you have these small newspapers like Police Times, Kali Ganga. So in that you get only news of crime that is happening and the police investigation that happens. So in that there was one article about a missing gun, and they found that gun in in trash somewhere. So that's how that story began. Like I was like, what if someone finds this gun? What if instead of police, someone would have found this gun? What if an old man finds this gun? What if a girl finds this gun? So that's how I came to this point. Like, what if a boy finds this gun, and what happens then? So that slowly, I started building upon that story. So initially, it was completely about the boy, about his anger, and about how he deals with anger. But slowly, I made it about the family. And the thing is, what happens? Like, so mostly in Dalit families. Okay, so I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about the families that I've seen from in my extended relationships also. Alcohol abuse is the biggest issue, and it eats away the family like slowly, very slowly. It eats away the complete family. And what happens is, in, that whole anger gets like inverted inside. That's how people explode. And this is not just with this child. Like I've seen these people who are not very forthcoming about what their parents do, or what kind of work their forefathers have done. Like you were saying, that the children don't like the food from my hand because it might be contaminated or something. So that is the basic function of caste. It attaches that idea of impurity with you. So that's how the child starts to look at it also. Like what my father or mother is doing, it's something impure, because the society has imposed this idea upon that child that you can't do those impure things and still sit with us. You have to be that, you have to like be completely on that parameter of purity. You have to pass that parameter. So like like I was telling the people that I was talking to here in BMC also, like I talked to a lot of their children also. So most of the time those children told me that many of them or their friends also, they don't acknowledge their parents in the public place, because they are like, Ki, my father is right now, I'm walking on the street, my father is coming out of that hole. I'm not going to say hi to him, because if I say hi to him, like my 10 of my friends know that that guy is my father, and he's completely covered in shit, and they will start to keep distance from him. And that has happened with people. So again, it is not a fault of that child. It is just how that whole idea of impurity is attached with this world. That's when that whole thing starts to bog down on that mind of that innocent person who has not even seen this whole society, and he has not even experienced the kind of discrimination that the father who is doing, or the or whoever the parent that doing that kind of. So that's how I like put this idea that the son is ashamed of the work that his father is doing.
Yeah, I think that is very important, that aspect to do film from a child perspective, how
Yeah.
it impact on the child psychology as well. And you have beautifully, that depict that struggle of a child because that the occupation of the Dalits always, that associate with the humiliation, and people treat, that people from the Dalit community because differently because of their occupation. And also there are so many imagery that you have used in your film, like the Jai Maharashtra sort of a thing, where you have shown Jai Maharashtra, and then the mother is walking with her both of the children, but only the son goes to school and the daughter doesn't go to school. And they were going for that begging, some called Amavasya alms, something
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things that are very important in a setting like a village, rural village, where the feudalism and the patriarchy also, that the some people call it as a Dalit patriarchy, how it interacts with the, that the feudalism and then the patriarchy and then alcohol abuse and everything. So, and also the humiliation starts from the schools as well, like the scholarship things that you have, that put upon and then you have raised. But it is beautifully you have that shown that scene where Sahuji Maharaj, the portrait you have seen, who has actually started the scholarship for the oppressed people.
Yes.
And then the teacher that talk about that because you people only come to school for the scholarship, and then the picture is also at the background, so it is beautifully depicted. So because of the the time constraint, I will not go into deeper, but definitely we'll talk about it in much detail after this discussion over. But I will just ask now Akhil. I will go back to Akhil by asking questions that we that it is a long history of that struggle to showcase the the legacy of PK Rosy, and people are now there's trying to basically showcase her story. But do you think that this class struggle, this the evolution of cinema and the cultural identity of Dalits, in also in the contemporary Malayalam cinema, do you see these challenges and these that issues are still prevalent? Do you think?
So basically, this caste aspect in Malayalam cinema or like any cinema, I see in two different aspects. First thing is like uh, on screen or in our narrative, how are we are we seeing any representation in terms of like uh, Dalit, Adivasi, or Bhajan community? So that's one aspect. And the second aspect is, I mean, who is making the film? I mean, in what gaze we are seeing the film. So, so when we look at the cast in Malayalam cinema, so the aspect of representation is still lacking after 95 years of, I mean, after the tragic birth of Malayalam cinema. So that representation aspect is lacking till now. And even in uh, when mainstream cinema also, like uh, when we look at the protagonists of the stories, so most of the protagonists are like from like upper caste, upper class. So so that thing is still lacking. But somehow, like I mean, like in our neighbor state, like in last few decades, I mean, we have witnessed like I'm talking about Tamil cinema.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Akhil. Thank you, Akhil, for this reflection. And as we see that this struggle to reclaim the that space in the cinematic forum as well, it is a continuous struggle that all the people from the Dalit and marginalized community are still trying to negate with. But I have one more question from the audience, actually, from one of our organizer, Nicole. Prashant is. Uh, could you tell us more about the open-endedness of your two films, which I enjoyed very much? In both the films, you didn't, that giving too much to take away for the audience, but it's just open to interpretation that people can have on different opinions. So yeah, what do you think and about this open-endedness?
So open-ended is like those are my favorite endings. Films that I like are also open-ended films. So that's what I wanted to do, first of all. And second is keeping it open-ended, like I told you, with Udmashan, like the story that I'm trying to tell about the people, they're in a loop. It is never ending. We don't know when it is going to end. So that's what I wanted to signify with this thing. That now she is stuck there. She might not be able to get out anytime soon, or when she gets, I don't know. I also don't know. And with the with the second film, so I did not want to show that the child shoots his father. Okay, and like I wanted to show, I wanted to do that, like the child shoots his father, but again, there were a lot of constraints, budgetary constraints, like how to do it, everything. But again, to keeping that thing and like ending it there, it keeps my hope alive that child didn't take that step, and no child should take that step. That is a very harsh thing to do, but like whatever I was trying to imply with that story, it is an implosion. It is not an explosion. So what happens with our lives is that we implode. So we take everything. We take humiliation from the society. We take humiliation from the people that we study with. We take humiliation from the schools and colleges that we go to, and we are never allowed to project it outside. So it implodes and it goes back to the home, and you take it out on those people. So that shouldn't happen. So again, I wanted to keep that hope alive by not showing that child shooting his father, and also to play with people's the audience's mind that whether he shot or whether he didn't shoot.
Yeah, definitely. It's not always the filmmakers, that duty and responsibility to tell everything to audience.
Yeah.
Some work has to be done by themselves as well. And on this, I think we would like to end this discussion. And I would like to thank you all, like Akhil, Prashant, and my co-host Palani for such an interactive session. And I hope everybody has also enjoyed as much as we have enjoyed in this entire discussion. I would like to also thank Bonington Gallery, Alex, for supporting us for this conducting this screening and discussion. And we have more films lined up for our next 4 sessions. So I would request all the people out there to join in more number to enjoy all our films that are lined up in our festival. See you in the next screening and discussion, which is on 28th March. Thank you again, all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.